Hey, good evening, friends. Here I am. So, after a small break, we are going to have a live conversation with one of the author. The author of the author's name is Mr. Manu Nellutla. So, Janya Bharata, The War is the first book in the series, written by Mr. Manu Nellutla, and he'll be joining us now in the live interview, wherein I'll be asking him some questions and he would be answering. He should be here now. And waiting for him to accept. Hello, Manu. How are you?
I'm good, Sharad. How are you doing? Can you hear me well?
Yes, of course. It's all clear, perfectly clear. And thank you for
Wonderful.
joining this interview. I think it is early morning almost in Vancouver, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, it's 7:30 a.m., but that's hey, early bird gets the best feed, right?
Absolutely. So, thank you for this amazing book. There are a lot of books which got released. Excuse me for that. Which got released with regards to our great epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. And, I have had the privilege to go through, a lot of books which showed variations. And when I, saw the title of your book, Janya Bharata, I was like, okay, this sounds, little bit like a Telugu word. And again, when I started reading it, it was totally a different kind of an experience because it was not about the actual, the heroes of the Mahabharata, the Kauravas and Pandavas, but those who were behind them, the warriors and how they felt, what kind of mindset they had to go through and stuff like that. It was, given in great detail, which I think, it's quite unique. The book was more of a conversational, theme. And again, uh, when I read about the characters, they are, fictions, but still the fictional characters has gelled very well with, what probably would have happened around that time, few
hmm
thousands of years ago when this Kurukshetra war happened. So yeah, I mean that was a very novel attempt, I should say.
Thank you. Thanks for mentioning that because yes, it's a novel attempt. I mean, I've tried my best to give that unique perspective to this epic Mahabharata because it's always Mahabharata, Maha, which is
Correct.
epic or big.
Yes.
And for me, it was more about what were others doing at that time. So that's why it's Janya Bharata, commoners
Yeah.
Bharata.
Absolutely. So here I have a few questions to ask you for this author interview, and
Oh, please.
if you're good to go, we can start.
Always, yes, ready.
Okay, perfect. So my first question to you would be, what motivates you to write?
Well, I mean, what wanted me to write this one is definitely that this was a unique idea that came up in my mind.
Okay.
Like, I was sitting one day and I'm like, hey, I mean, I do a lot of research, read books like you do, and I'm like, okay, everybody is talking about Mahabharata from the royalty perspective, from Pandavas and Kauravas side of the things.
Yeah.
Then the question crept up, like, what was happening from a commoner side? What were others doing in India at that time when this war was happening? What was their the war's effect on them?
Yeah.
And that unique idea kept me motivating. It's like, okay, nobody wrote about that. Maybe I should write about that. And the main concept that this idea can be read by so many of our audience, readers, and population in India and across the world
Yeah.
motivated me because this is I want everybody to read about this and see Mahabharata from a different angle.
Angle. Yeah. Absolutely. And it was a unique novel, I would say. So yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you once again for that. And let us move on to the next question.
Sure.
Uh, how did you feel after publishing this particular novel?
Well, I mean, I I enjoy the whole process too. It's not just the publishing part, but I enjoy the whole process. But after publishing the novel, it feels like I have two kids, almost teenagers,
Yeah,
and I felt like it's like my third child has is out now. Like the effort that you put in coming up with conceiving the idea,
yeah,
and to go through those. It took almost an year, so it's not 9 months of effort, but it took almost an year to conceive the idea and then write the book. So I felt like as if my third child was born, So it's like your baby, the book itself.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So moving on to the next question. Which are some of your favorite novels, and who are some of your favorite authors? Can you name any?
Well, oh yeah, I mean, I always enjoy reading Jules Verne's novels.
Okay.
I mean, I love the classics. The
Oh,
latest ones, of course, I do love the latest ones too, but I always have that classics imprinted in my mind. So
okay.
Jules Verne's, especially like The Time Machine or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Journey to the Center of the Earth. These are all kind of adventurous. They're also more the protagonist quest to understand and to identify themselves, and they're seeking something. Same with Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe. I love that story. I mean, like it's how it has love, it has revenge, it has plot subplots, it has survivor instincts within that. So within that one book, you have so many the Navaratnalu, you say, right? The Navaratnas of art. So the similar way the writing, so many concepts of those writing is available. So it's wonderful to so read that book. So I like these authors and their novels. I love reading classics. Latest of course, I read of course from an Indian perspective, I liked Amish Tripathi's all the trilogy,
Yeah, yeah.
Shiva's trilogy, and I also read Jaya, which is from the Duryodhana side of I think looking at uh, Mahabharata. So these kind of novels also inspired me to actually write this particular novel. So lots of authors, but Jules Verne and Daniel Defoe are my go-to if I have to read through again.
Okay, great. Awesome. And moving on to the next question. Is there a specific reason for naming your novel Janya Bharata?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I was when I was conceiving the idea, when I was writing the idea, I wanted to name it something else. I don't want to give it a spoiler kind of a thing, but I wanted to name it based on the characters that are available or that were on that. Then I'm like, no, this is more the way the novel is evolving, the way the story, the plots are evolving. It's more about like the common person's information, right? Or the story, fictional story. So I searched for the name common. What does common means? It's not Maha. It's not the great Bharata that I'm writing. But I'm writing something about a commoner. So I went through some words, searched, and I wanted that Sanskritized word that everybody can easily come. Now, when you said at the beginning, you felt
Yeah.
Janya means something like a Telugu name or something. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to make sure that everybody understands very quickly. So
Okay.
Janya means it can be taken. It has many in the Sanskrit had many meanings to one word. You can see from different concept and the word evolves. So
Okay.
Janya could be a common. Janya is also a word for commoner, which is what I wanted to portray in the novel. And Janya also means war, which is also that the war itself. And Jenny also means companion. So you can read this the concept of this novel, and you can see you are the companion of the protagonist and read from that perspective, or the daughter of the protagonist. You can read from the friends side of the things because it's all about common people. You can read from the war itself and see how the war affected this common tribe. So that's why I went with the name Janya Bharata.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, you can go through this novel in various angles, through.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you can relate to those characters, right? That's what I wanted. You could be the friend of the best friend of the protagonist and go
Correct.
through his life on what's how the war was affecting him, or the wife, if you're a woman reading this novel. So a lot of options.
Correct. So thank you for that. Moving on to the next question. Where do you write from? Do you have any, specific place, where you feel like you can start writing from there, or you just, write as and when you're traveling, or how does it work?
Well, I wish I would go to some beach side and pleasant and sit quietly, but it doesn't happen. We have to work too. So I do it on my sidelines. But yeah, this is my room actually. This is where I wrote most of my work. My laptop computer is here, and I feel this is kind of my secluded spot. But at the same time, I would sit at my at the dining table or on an island or in the backyard in the patio, and take my laptop. And when it's pleasant, quiet, and you're in the you get those ideas springing and sprouting around in your mind, go with your laptop, shoot, sit, and type, keep typing. So but majority has been in this room too.
Okay. No, the main reason why I've asked this question is, it is very much relatable to an author, because like you said, the people who are into film industry for, story writing and the screenplay scripts, they go to some hill station, or even for instance, if we take J.K. Rowling, I heard that, she spent her novel by sitting in a cafe. So,
Oh,
that is something which is which made me wonder, how can a novel be conceived by sitting in a cafe which is crowded by people most of the time. Probably, the one she sitting maybe not frequented by visitors. Probably, we never know. So
probably, or maybe that was the inspiration for that initial the train station chaotic scene. Probably because there were so many people on that when the Hogwarts Express comes. So yeah, I think it's more about what makes you feel comfortable and where you think that you're in the zone, zoning out, right? So even I was sitting, I would sit in front of TV. My family is watching TV, and I would be typing my story because I was in that zone at that point.
absolutely, thank you for that. And
Okay.
the next question. What inspired you to write the book in general? Any tales to tell?
I mean, apart from my own curiosity yeah, and the inquisitiveness to say, okay, what was happening during that time? Like, I never came across ancient India's whether it's archaeological or historical information. That what was happening in the generic times when this huge war was happening. Let's say World War, or let's take the latest one, Russia and Ukraine's war. How is it affecting us? Far away in Canada, it's affecting us from an oil perspective, gas prices or stocks falling down. Maybe in India, it's also affecting the politically, how India is taking its
Yeah,
stance versus not taking stance. We all get affected by this war. And we talk about this epic war which is happening in northern India at that time. But what was happening around the other people in the country out there? And they talked about using celestial weapons, huge weapons. So that was the kind of the idea that came up that kind of the curiosity that came up by which I came up this idea. And the main reason was also my own kids. They're grown up in Canada, and I want them to read a Mahabharata epic. But how can they get inspired if we are only talking about superhuman people and not talking about normal people too? So I hope it also inspires them to read Mahabharata now. So similarly, I want everybody to understand this novel and also read Mahabharata further and understand. Oh, this is something that happened, unique thing.
definitely, definitely. I mean, this is like I have mentioned earlier. I have not seen any story based on a commoner's life in a great epic. So yeah, definitely, it should be read by all, and it will be welcomed by all once they have read it, for sure.
Thank you.
So
Fingers crossed.
yeah. Moving on to the next question. What was your biggest learning experience throughout this writing process?
Oh, what all I've learned, so many things. Like even yeah, I've learned during the whole process. It was interesting that writing doesn't mean just typing out words or just making sentences. It's like it needs to convey the message. It needs to convey the emotions that you're feeling, or the protagonist is feeling, or the friends of a protagonist is feeling. So it's conveying that messaging was important. I mean, I have done so many research publications or from a work perspective or from a educational point of view. They were all scientific research public. It's like you write papers, whereas novel writing is such a unique experience of you enjoy writing it too. And what do you say? I enjoy mainly I enjoy the learning process was that coming up with a novel doesn't mean just writing. It also includes formatting. It also includes editing. It also includes publishing and marketing. Right now, like the interview is part of my maybe promoting and you recognizing my work and how to share it with the world. So many processes are there in a writing in a novel writing things that you can learn day to day. Oh, I missed that. I should have done a preface. Do I need a prologue? Because for not everybody must have read the Mahabharata. So do I need a prologue? So the prologue was the last entry of everything in that novel because at that last minute I felt, what if somebody, my own kids read and they don't know about Mahabharata? How are they going to get some introduction? So let me write a two-page prologue. So that's the whole experience was learning. It was interesting.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you for that. Moving on to the next question. Looking back, what did you do right that helped you to become a writer, an author?
Well, I mean, this is my first book, so yes, I hope I did some good things, right things that made sure that I published my book. But definitely, I mean, one thing I didn't over the past 1 year, no matter how busy I was with work, I was leading an organization too at the time. I made sure that whatever time I got, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, if I'm in that zone, if I feel that hey, I got this idea, I would open up my laptop, type in, and make sure those words are there. No matter how badly written the sentences are, or how bad, or I must have removed that total plot from the story itself, but I made sure that I type it out. So one thing I did is never stopped. I continuously typed and made sure that I have a story going, and yeah, that I think that's one thing I kept on doing is and one other thing is that I didn't write for others, to be very frank. Yes, I want everybody to read this, but I wrote it for myself. I wanted to I came up with this unique idea. I wanted to make sure everybody read this, and I wrote for myself. I wanted to be happy. Am I okay with this story? If I'm okay with this story, that means the story is good because that's what I envisioned. So these are the two things. Never stop and write for yourself.
Oh, that's a good piece of advice for sure. And thank you for that. Moving on to the question. Now that you are an author, published author yourself, any best piece of writing advice that you would like to share with the new author, upcoming authors?
Oh yes, definitely. Actually, I'm amazed that a few upcoming authors within the region, I mean, local here, some of my common friends started approaching me to ask like, hey, how can we do this, or how does it work? And it includes not only just the writing part, but also how to publish and how to format and everything, because it's a whole process, right? Like a car has wheels, steering, engine. That's when it works. A car doesn't mean just the outside part of that. So similarly, one advice I would give is that understand the whole process first. Just writing and keeping it somewhere on your laptop and never coming out is what to say? It diminishes the efforts that you have put in to write such a great work. So I would say that understand the whole process first and keep writing. As I mentioned, don't stop and write for yourself. As I said, yes, think about your audience. Who is your audience? Who is going to read this? But at the same time, is the story or the novel, or if it's nonfiction too, right? Like, does it meet what you envision at the beginning? So give an outline. This is what you want at the beginning. This is what you want at the end. Does the story express what you wanted to achieve at the beginning when you wanted to write this, right? That when you got that idea conceived, does the story explain it?
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes that's why I also said that you mentioned too that it's a first book of the two-part book
Mhm.
series because the story is still there and it's not finished yet, and I want to finish it. So that's why it's a two-part book series. So similarly, so don't stop, think, and write for yourself, and make sure that the outcome is what you envision at the beginning.
Absolutely. Brilliant. So, moving on to the next question. Something personal about you, your friends or your family members would be surprised to know. Probably, I think this author part of you would have been a surprise as well for some.
Absolutely. Actually, the author part is the most surprising thing for everyone because nobody knew except for my family and few friends maybe, but nobody knew that this was coming out. The whole concept and the theme, nobody knew. So the author was the surprising part, but otherwise, my friends and family know me very well. I mean, but few things for others to know, if they're interested to know is that I also gave a TEDx talk 4 years back almost on proactive innovation and learning from third world. So I'm a speaker and I love to speak in front of people to share my knowledge. That's what I enjoy. And if you look at the guitar there, though I
Yeah.
don't play it, I would love to learn it, but I'm a singer. So if you go to Facebook and type singer Manu N, actually you can see me singing on shows and my Smule audio tracks that I try. So I'm also a singer. And one interesting thing is I can speak, read, write fluently. I would say fluently four languages: English, Hindi, Telugu, and Gujarati. And I can speak Kannada and Oriya. Well, I can manage, and I
Oh,
can speak. Definitely manageable is Malayalam.
oh, amazing, amazing. I mean, multi-talent it is. So yeah, your
Well,
name, apart from just one character, it's a name of a popular singer over here, singer Manu.
yes, Mano. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Actually, my full name is Manobhiram Nellutla, and if you look at my Instagram tag, it's Sakalajana Manobhiram Nellutla, Sakalajana, which means everybody, the one who is in everybody's heart, or one liked by everybody's heart. So, yes, unique names.
Awesome. So thank you for that. Moving on to the next question. Any future books that you would like to discuss?
Yeah, sure. I mean, one that is very obvious, which I have mentioned in the book, in the preface, and in my what is it, promotional events, is also that this is the first part of the two-book part series. The reason is because it's a continuation of the idea that came to my conception, right? So but people, and it's called Janya Bharata, the deluge. Deluge would mean it's a flooding and etc. So I have that concept. It's still going on. So I'm writing actually right now. The outline is there, and almost first two chapters are done. Or Parva, as you have seen in the book, I call them Parva because it's related to that Mahabharata Parva chapters. So yes, it's coming out soon. So that's one book. There has been some inquiry from some of my friends who got interested by this to say, oh, the main tribe there, Ustrakarnikas and their rivals, Ekapadas. What was them like? Are they fictional? Are they real? I said no. In Mahabharata, they were mentioned. So I'm also thinking of a prequel probably to say how this rivalry started. So these are the kind of then it becomes part of the whole Janya Bharata series probably, right? But these are the two books definitely. The War and the Deluge is coming up. The prequel, I will see how soon I can conceive the whole idea and then write around it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Looking forward to that. And
Definitely.
to the next question. What other profession excites you the most?
Well, I mean, teaching is definitely that excites me the most. I mean, in my 22 years of my professional career, 13 years of them I have spent as an assistant professor teaching in universities in India and Rwanda in physiotherapy. I was the head of department of physiotherapy and even in Rwanda, occupational therapy and orthopedics and prosthetics. I was head of departments of those because teaching is sharing, right? Like just the thought that whatever you teach today that the students are going to impact the society in the future. Like I have almost 500 to 600 students. I have helped them graduate in my 13 years of life of teaching life, and they are now impacting the society and helping the society across the world. So that itself is an amazing feeling. So definitely, I that's the profession I would always love to go back if I get any chance at any time. I even have done some online teaching to Rwandan students even now, once in a while, whenever I can get a chance. That's why I speak publicly to share my knowledge, and the writing the book was another kind of another way of sharing the idea that looked novel to me, and I wanted to make sure that it's shared.
Excellent. I mean, yeah, teaching is a noble profession. So yeah, one should be proud of being a guru, imparting
Yes,
knowledge, a lot of things. So thank you for that.
absolutely.
So moving
Okay.
to the next question. Any special mention about any of your readers, be it with reviews, feedback, or anything else?
Well, I mean, it's still out, so it's been 2 weeks, so I'm still waiting for more lot of ratings. There has been at least one review right now on Amazon, which is amazing. They said that they can't put the book down. They kept on reading. I'm waiting for your review too. I'm curious how you felt it reading. So I'm waiting for that. But the response so far has been amazing. I mean, even few chapters, I've got so many messages. I've got like people like you reaching out and saying that, let's talk about this. So it's been an amazing response so far. It's still seen as a hot new release on Amazon. And for a few days, it was in the best 5 bestsellers, top 10 bestsellers on Amazon among Indian mythology books. Right now, it's in the top 25, 30, but it's still young, fresh, I would say. So as long as I can as these promotions go on and more people read, I think it will come up there. But amazing response. I feel so complete and content with this book right now because of that. Even about the book cover, people are talking about because it's like a drawing. It's not like a hugely designed. It was actually designed by my cousin's daughter, my niece, a 15-year-old girl who drew that because she got the concept and she drew that. So amazing. The whole response overall about the book, it's amazing.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that. Moving on to the next question. Do you write your story, the novel, at a stretch, or you take time to break? Take a break and then continue writing the novel. How does it work?
Oh, at a stretch would be tough to do probably, as we also have our other work and life, daily life. But stretch in the sense like it still take. There were times when I had this the wall, the writer's wall they call, right? Like you can't just type even a word or a sentence. There were times and there were weeks where I wanted to write, but I couldn't move on. So definitely lots of breaks. But when there was that kind of that aha moment, this is how I want to write. I would go at a stretch like 2 3 hours. I'll be sitting and just typing, typing, typing. Whereas there are weeks where I'm just doing nothing, but I'm just reading other books, watching TV, getting my concepts and ideas going on. And you read a book and you're like, this is how they express. Maybe that's a good one. The way that I should express my characters or something. So it's a kind of a two-way, right? Like it's stretch on the stretch doesn't mean like days, but yes, few hours I would sit and just type, and there will be weeks I would say where I didn't type a single word. So it's a mixed bag.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that. And moving on to the next question. Which one do you recommend, traditional or self-publishing, and why?
Oh, which one I would recommend? Well, I mean, if you can get a publisher, I think that takes up a lot of what to say, a lot of stress on you because the publisher takes care of promotions or even the whole formatting to design to publish it, actually the pricing, etc. But I had fun in self-publishing, at least the first book I wrote, because it's like as I told you, I felt like it's my third child, so it's like I want to take utmost care on making sure that I have the right design. I get the right drawing. That's why my niece, I spoke with her. She got the right drawing, how many pages I want, how much spacing I want. So self-publishing gives all those opportunities. The only challenge would be promotional activities. Yeah, I have to do it on my own, and sometimes it's challenging because right now this book, though it's available in India on Amazon, it's available only as a ebook. That's why
Okay.
you had only chance to read that. You asked me
Yeah.
for the paperback, but it's not
Yeah.
available. But if I can get my idea is that after these promotions, and if some publisher in India actually gets this novel in their hand and they're interested, that will help a lot too.
Definitely, definitely. I'm sure, once there are few reviews put up on the Amazon site, I'm sure, some authors, some publishers would go through that and will be reaching out to you for sure. Because, like I said, this is
I wish.
so. Coming to the last question of this wonderful interview, How's the response so far for the book?
Well, amazing. As I mentioned, like people have been responding me personally, professionally too on my network, LinkedIn network or Twitter page. Like I have lots of responses coming back. Like first thing is, it was a surprising for most of my network to say that Manu, you're an author now. We know you were a speaker. We know you were a singer. We know you were a leader. I mean, leading organizations. Now you're an author. So they were surprised with that. Once they got the idea of what the uniqueness of this theme of this book was, that it's seeing Mahabharata from a commoner's point of view, nothing to do with Pandavas and Kauravas. That actually takes the cherry on the cake. Like everybody's response was like, "What?" Because nothing has come up so far in this way. So the response has been amazing, and I feel, as I mentioned to you earlier, too, I feel content with the overall outcome out of this book and the response that I've been receiving, and with this. Over time, I think with ratings, as you mentioned, and with more reviews coming up, it just will just blow up into huge proportions is my wish. But my the whole idea of writing is I wanted this concept of looking at Mahabharata from a commoner's perspective to reach everybody. So it's not to make the book itself a huge hit. I would love that, but it's about making sure that everybody reads it and enjoys that perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said. And thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us in this live interview. And despite of being so early, the place where you stay, and do you have anything else to say to the readers, to your readers, and to my audience? Anything else to say?
Absolutely. Thanks, sir. Thanks, actually, sure. Thanks for taking time to interview me because I mean I have read your reviews previously about other books, and you're one of the best book reviewers in India at this point, a blogger and etc. So appreciate you taking time for reading through this book and actually giving me an opportunity to reach out to audiences and through to your audiences and to my readers. So thank you for that. One message I would say is that please encourage hashtag Janya Bharata. If you're reading this, please leave a review rating on Amazon. It's available as ebook in India, as I mentioned at this point. In Canada, USA, UK, Australia, it's available in all formats. So please, if you're able to order that in those countries, read it and share it and rate it, please. I mean, it's as a self-publisher, it's difficult to reach out. And such a unique concept of a novel idea. I just want to make sure that it reaches to the mass audiences, especially in India. So, every reader who is watching this right now, your audience too, Sharath, if they can read this book and hashtag it and share it with 10 more people of their friends or family in India, especially, that would be a great help.
Definitely. So, since few languages, probably you can speak in two or three languages like Hindi, Gujarati, and whatever language you're comfortable with. Just to end this interview, saying, you know, asking the readers to go, because some
Absolutely.
that much comfortable in the English conversation. Probably in the end they might they would listen and hey, this guy has spoken in my language, so let me go ahead and order.
Sure, yeah, let's do it in two languages, maybe Hindi and Telugu. At least Telugu is my native language, and the Hindi is, of course, most of them would listen to that. So, అందరూ ప్లీజ్ నా బుక్ చదవండి. ఇది చాలా యునిక్, ఒక కొత్త కాన్సెప్ట్ తో కొత్త హంగుతో రాశాను. ఇది మహాభారతంలో పాండవుల కౌరవుల మీద కాకుండా ఒక జనుల మీద రాశాను. ఇది ఒక కామనర్ మీద. సో అందరు చదువుతారని ఆశిస్తూ ఇట్లు మీ మను నెల్లుట్ల. सब लोग आपको मेरा यही आवेदन है कि आप ये मेरा नॉवल पढ़िए। ये एक बहुत ही डिफरेंट आइडिया से लिखा हुआ नॉवल है। महाभारत के ऊपर लिखा हुआ है, बट पांडव और कौरव के ऊपर नहीं, बट मोस्टली ऑन कॉमन नॉर्मल जन जो रहते थे ये भारतवर्ष में उस टाइम के कुरुक्षेत्र वॉर के टाइम पे, उस टाइम पे लिखा हुआ है, उनके ऊपर लिखा हुआ है। सो आप सब लोग पढ़िए। बहुत सिंपल इंग्लिश में लिखा है, सब लोग पढ़ सकते हैं एंड शेयर कर सकते हैं। कोई भी एज वाले पढ़ सकते हैं एंड शेयर कर सकते हैं। तो आप पढ़ेंगे इसको और बहुत बड़ा हिट बनाएंगे बोल के सोच के आपसे मेरा निवेदन यही है। I hope
Excellent.
that works out, Sarath.
I just wanted to say this. This is not a comparison actually, but when I read this novel, I felt like how Rajamouli sir, conceived the idea of RRR and portrayed that which has happened during the independence. So these are again the characters portrayed in the movie was a fictional character, both the characters, enacted by Ram Charan and Junior NTR. But I felt
Absolutely.
was some connect, like how you conceived the idea of the great Mahabharata and presented to us in the form of a novel.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, that's a great comparison. I mean, happy to hear that too. So feels good as a writer that it has been accepted.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for your time, Manu, and I wish you all the best for your book and looking forward to your sequel as well.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Sharath, and thanks everybody for watching this. And I hope you'll all enjoy reading this book. Thank you.
Thank you.